BlizzCon qualifiers. I am Gillyweed, one of your casters, and joining me for the other caster is AnnaProsser Robinson. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Gilly. Very excited for this next match, and thank you to all of you who have been patiently waiting between matches. Luckily, that was a little bit of a quicker turnaround. This time we have the winner of our last match, Gaming Team Gaming, who emerged victorious 2-0 over Boogie Knights, and they are going to meet 2Arc, who advanced, unfortunately, due to a no-show the last round, but who did they play right before that?
They played the Dragon Knights, yes.
Yes. Dragon Knights.
Indeed.
So both of these teams having put on a very strong showing so far in the tournament. 2 O's all around, as we've seen so far, but we will see in this best of 3 what that record will be now.
Yes, we will. We are going to be heading in the draft very soon. It looks like we are going to be on Dragon Shire. So once again, going back to the land of dragon suits and shrines. Lots of shrines.
Absolutely. Now, looking at Dragon Shire, can we make any predictions about what these teams may be looking to draft?
Well, we've seen we saw from 2Arc a very strong Kerrigan on this map. Kerrigan is great for gank squads, and because of the way on this battleground the bushes, the plants underneath the dragon shrine are set up, there's a lot of potential for ganks between those lanes as well as up top too. So that's something to consider for Gaming Team Gaming. I'm wondering if they're going to be, if they watched those matches and are aware of how that went down, because that was pretty scary. Panucci's Kerrigan was on point.
Yes, and I love to see Kerrigan play, so I don't know. I would hope that we would see more in this series, Gilly, but we will see. And you know, 2Arc actually it's a top tier team, a pro team, and a lot of times what we expect from pro teams is kind of the standard accepted meta builds, but 2Arc has been showing us a lot of creativity. They played their last 2 games that we casted with no warriors, so they used their assassins as tanks or just decided they didn't need tanks at all, and that was characterized by a huge experience gain in the early game that allowed them to really dominate throughout the mid and late game, as late as it got, which wasn't very long.
Yeah, the late game. Well, it looks like we are starting this draft, so I'm going to hop over into that. And we will start with Gaming Team Gaming, who will have first picks and first bans. And here's where I'm wondering, they're going to choose to ban the Lost Vikings, which is understandable because that was also something, I believe, that 2Arc, were they using it or did the other team have it? Now I'm wondering, I'm questioning myself.
I believe that 2Arc was not using Lost Vikings. They did. Maybe they did one game and not the other. We've been casting a lot of games, guys. You'll have to help us.
It is true. Well, either way, it's a good ban because Lost Vikings are very strong on this battleground. They, as well as anywhere, you're going to be sitting and passively soaking the experience. Although a lot of times we've been seeing them keep the Lost Vikings together versus spreading them out between the different lanes. 2Arc are going to ban Zeratul. Understandable. They don't want to deal with that the possibility of those void prisons, which can be really detrimental in setting up a team fight when you're playing up against it. If you run into 3 people getting void prisoned and people are able to zone the rest of the teammates away from being able to get away or being able to get into the void prison into safety with your teammates, then you can easily take somebody out.
Gaming Team Gaming goes ahead and picks up Jaina as a first pick, which is something we see a lot, but also smart when you're up against 2Arc. We know that 2Arc likes to pick a lot of damage dealers instead of the typical tanks and supports, multiple tanks and supports type build. So Gaming Team Gaming wants to make sure that they get their damage dealers before 2Arc takes them all. 2Arc is going to answer with Sylvanas, who on every map is really going to help with lane pushing, and especially here with the Dragon Knight, she can escort the Dragon Knight and keep structures from attacking it, making it even stronger. And look what they did, Gilly! They picked up Kerrigan!
There it is. There's the Kerrigan. I was wondering if maybe they do Sylvanas Kael'thas and then hope to get either Kerrigan or Illidan later on after the next ban phase, but they went ahead and got her, and now I'm wondering if we might see either a Kael'thas pick up here, which would be very squishy, but would deny more of that really high damage dealing potential to 2-Arc, or if maybe we'll even see him in the bans. For now, grabbing Uther, this is a super great play. Denying that Divine Shield from Kerrigan. They're going to have to keep her healed and healthy another way, and they won't be able to make her invulnerable for a few seconds, unless they were to take something like Tyrael and Sanctification, but I don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's really, really smart. And Uther's certainly useful to Gaming Team Gaming as well, who can use that on Jaina or any number of other people. Divine Shield can be very helpful with a damage dealer in keeping them from being too squishy while they deal that damage. If I were Gaming Team Gaming, I would look to maybe pick up another damage dealer here, but it depends on whether they're really attached to the idea of a particular tank. Johanna,
I'm thinking Johanna in that.
Johanna is also a huge major player right now for many compositions, and you really don't want to have 2-Arc taking Johanna, Kerrigan, Sylvanas, because that starts to look really scary. But instead, Gaming Team Gaming says they want Muradin, and that probably signifies to us that they are going with a solo tank composition, so they're leaving room for more damage dealers, but I guess they're feeling comfortable taking those later and not worrying about exactly who they are.
Muradin's pretty good versus those melee assassins, so that's a really good pickup there. And like you mentioned, he has a really good potential of playing as a solo warrior. And with Uther, they've got some really tanky heroes already. And now we're seeing bans directed toward 2-Arc. 2-Arc's going to go ahead and ban Illidan. Understandable. Gaming Team Gaming, actually, I don't know if they know them or they're just expecting that because of the Divine Shield, but Gaming Team Gaming does have a good Illidan player. But they're going Gaming Team Gaming, banning Tyrande. That's been a really big play for 2-Arc when they have that no warrior comp. They're going double support, one of them being either Tyrande or Tassadar. If they take out Tyrande, it limits the amount of stuns now that they have on top with Kerrigan. They've taken out Uther, they've taken out Tyrande, and now that means that there are less stuns that they can throw on top of the members once they get that Primal Grasp. But they still do have Gravity Lapse from Kael'thas.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this and now wondering, you know, we talked about Johanna, would be a great pick here, but 2-Arc has shown us that they don't care much for warriors in general. So we're probably looking at a support here if the trend continues, and that, I don't know, Gilly, what do you think we might see? Would you think we'll see a Brightwing, a Rhaegar, or do you think we'll see Malfurion, because he has been a favorite for teams that want to put their squishies underneath him? Oh, in fact, we do get a warrior this time. All right, 2-Arc, shaking it up.
All right, so they have a new Brack. There's no way they can do a double tank, though. And that means that 2-Arc, no matter what, is going to be pretty squishy. So I'm thinking maybe they're going to look at a Rhaegar. Could be Brightwing, too, but we've seen before where Brightwings sometimes had difficulty keeping so many squishy people alive. So now it's up to Gaming Team Gaming. They have two picks left. They need more damage. They're going to go with Zagara. That's going to help a lot with vision on this map. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would put Vala here, potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, Zagara can definitely help with damage, and she's great for siege, especially looking at the fact that you have Sylvanas on the other side, so you want to be cognizant of that. But you've got a really tanky support and a tanky warrior, and you've got a really great burst damage dealer and another that can do a fair amount of damage. Adding a Vala on top of that, to me, makes me look at this team and say, okay, that's strong and scary.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe Tychus. So what about like a laser drill that Kerrigan would have to fight into?
Yes, that's really true.
And shrines on that too.
Yeah, Draken Laser Drill actually can be great on shrines because it adds, kind of like on Sky Temple where you have those temple guardians that are going to harass you while you're trying to channel something. That can really be mimicked by Tychus's Laser Drill on the shrines here. So very, very cool pick. I'm fine with that. Vala, Tychus, damage, that's fine. Whatever. Either one. Good job, Gaming Team Gaming. Now 2-Arc has to finish out their composition, and like you said, they really have to pick a support here. Although we've said that to 2-Arc many times, and they have done things that we didn't realize. So who knows with 2-Arc?
I'm saying it's going to be either Rhaegar Malfurion. Surely. I mean...
Surely it must, 2-Arc, surely.
Right? I mean, I'm really concerned about Brightwing. She has a lot of heal potential, but she's... we've seen her struggle. That's all I'm going to say. We've seen her struggle with so many So many squishies. And her heals require her to be around the heroes, and AnnaProsser is going to be pretty far in front of the rest of them, even Kerrigan as well. Okay, so they are going to go with Rhaegar. I like this. I think that's a good choice for support. Looking at this, though, I do have to, at least in the draft, give props to Gaming Team Gaming, because it does seem like they have... They were watching and made the right choices so that 2-Arc did have to go into more of a standard play. But they still have Kerrigan. We've seen Panucci's Kerrigan. And now it's going to come to, can they win on top of that? Can they use their composition versus the composition of 2-Arc, which still does look scary. Sylvanas, Kerrigan, Kael'thas, and then AnnaProsser, who also does damage. The only weakness really is that they are pretty squish.
That's true. I see Kerrigan, and I always look for who's going to hang out with her, because I love Kerrigan, but I feel like when she's alone, she's nowhere near as threatening as when she's got kind of an entourage or an escort or a bodyguard. And I kind of have a feeling that we're going to see Rhaegar, AnnaProsser, and Kerrigan hanging out together a lot of the time. And I really like Rhaegar Kerrigan because not only can Rhaegar do a lot of healing to keep her really scary, but also he's got a slow, which can really help her, you know, like we were talking about, what stuns can you put on top of the Primal Grasp and the stun that Kerrigan already has. That might be a help there too.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They definitely, like you said, have the potential for chain stuns, with Primal Grasp as well as Gravity Lapse and Impale from AnnaProsser, even Burrow Charge after all of that too, if they still need to, and then the Totem from Rhaegar to slow them down too. But on the other side, Gaming Team Gaming has the exact same thing. They've got Muradin for stuns, Uther for stuns, Jaina for slows. They've even got Tychus, who can grenade people back if they need to. So on both sides, really choosing control here in terms of team composition. And we are loading into the game. The battleground will be Dragonshire.
Yes, and if you missed it, a quick review of what Dragonshire is. There are 2 capture points, one at the top and one at the bottom of the map. If your team controls both of those capture points, you have the opportunity to grab the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight is what we would call a suit. It's a big beastie that you can put one of your heroes inside and give special powers that will help you push down your opponent's structures and wreak all sorts of havoc on the map. So these teams will be looking to do that. Of course, in blue, let me introduce you to Gaming Team Gaming. We have Fate on Uther, Phoenix will play Muradin, Kunriul will play Tychus, Wraith will take Jaina, and Koto will be on Zagara.
And playing for 2-Arc Gaming, they're in the red. It'll be Trader on AnnaProsser, Panucci once again playing Kerrigan, Chubbs on Rhaegar, Furious D playing Kael'thas, and Quibsy playing Sylvanas.
Yes, it is Gaming Team Gaming and 2-Arc Gaming gaming together on Dragonshire right now. Gaming.
And both kind of looking for ganks at that.
Ganking gaming.
Yeah, ganking gaming. We've got all the members of Gaming Team Gaming up on top. Here comes Trader. Fate is right in front, but a really good Blizzard is going to push everyone back momentarily. Mayhem abounds as we've even got beetles fighting roaches here, a Hydralisk heading into the base. It is some craziness going to be going down in terms of spawned minions this game.
Man, they brought all their friends to the brawl. All their minions, yeah. Looks like Wraith, Phoenix, and Fate will hang out here in the middle, but Trader is going to hold them off by himself. We see a lot of rotation on this map as well, as it is a little bit smaller. Quibsy is very low and is going to have to head back, so just Panucci is up here in the top lane to deal with Fate. The stuns will go off from Fate on Panucci, but Panucci's not too worried at this stage in the game about getting taken down by an Uther.
Yeah, Zagara got picked up there on the bottom, and that's unfortunately what happens when you haven't gotten to spread your creep out fully yet. You don't really have that movement speed from Koto, so now she's going to be dropping some creep shroomers, trying to get that support system set up. Shrines have started, and for now, both are being controlled by 2-Arc, so this is something where Phoenix is going to have to watch mid, make sure that nobody can take this. Now, Koto's grabbing that top shrine, so they've got a little more breathing room.
Yeah, a lot of times this is what we see in the early game, teams that are willing to say, look, I don't necessarily need a Dragon Knight right now, but I'm not going to let you have one either. So a lot of times we'll see red and blue on the top and bottom of the map switching off until teams decide really to go for it. The Dragon Knight is a little bit weaker early on in the game, so we'll see teams be more and more excited to get their hands on it later in the game.
Looks like we're having a lot of rotations from Gaming Team Gaming, trying to figure out where exactly is the best way for them to lane so that they can make sure that they have the shrines, at least one shrine. So for now, it seems like they're going to do 3 heroes on bottom there and hold on to that bottom. Meanwhile, Koto is playing laning versus Quibsy. That's a fairly normal lane that we see. The Sylvanas versus the Zagara. Unfortunately, she doesn't know that Trader and Panucci are also here and will get taken out.
That was a triangle of pain right there for poor Zagara. She'll be down not very long, though, as we are still early in the game and the takedown timers are a little bit shorter. We do see about a half-level experience lead from 2Arc as they have managed to get a little more in the way of takedowns. They're looking to add structures to that as soon as they can.
Oh, a great Hammer of Justice comes down on Chubbs, and Wraith is able to deliver the final blows there. They're able to finally pick up a takedown of their own. And now Koto and Phoenix are trying to catch Panucci, but the Hydralisk will continue chasing. The team members, however, will not. Looking at the talents, we've got Farsight for Rhaegar, so they're going to have a little bit more vision there, which is going to be nice because Gaming Team Gaming has a lot of vision from creep of their own. A couple of Envenoms here for Sylvanas and Kerrigan, so really focusing on being able to burst down somebody, whoever they happen to catch out.
Absolutely. Taking a look at these talents, we are approaching level 7. We won't be getting any heroic abilities anytime soon, so we will see a lot of times in this battleground particularly. We have a little bit of an engagement here. 2Arc was looking to get a pick on Fate, but luckily Fate is a very tanky tank in Uther, or a tanky support in Uther, something that's a little bit more rare. Phoenix is going to help him out by hanging out there in the mid lane and deal with that.
Yeah, Phoenix and Fate together are the Stun Kings. Koto up top is going to be able to pick up the shrine. They are not level 7 yet, so Jaina here, Wraith, has got to be careful versus Furious D and Chubbs. They're going to go ahead and just swap shrines here, but now Gaming Team Gaming has picked up level 7 talents as well, so we once again are evened back up for that. We do have the standard going into the Living Bomb build for Kael'thas. He did get Gathering Power, though, at level 4, so he will be looking to try to pick up those stacks, stay a little bit safe so that he will have a ton of damage once he has those picked up, as well as, of course, level 16.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Kael'thas at level 16 because he becomes way scarier even with his damage at that level, but we have a long ways to go and the teams so far have been very equivalent in their experience, so we'll see if that changes anytime soon. But right now we just have kind of a 3-person, well, it just broke up, I was going to say a 3-person gang squad from Gaming Team Gaming. Wraith, Conreal, and Fate seem to be roaming around between the mid and bottom here doing their business together, and like you said, the Stun Kings, Fate, and Phoenix hanging out here, but Trader has not had any trouble holding that lane by himself with an Uberak.
Really good protective shield on Wraith here in this engagement. He's going to be using that quite a bit to keep Jaina and everyone else alive versus the damage from Furious D, as well as that cleanse to try to deal with some of the stuns and grabs from Kerrigan that 2Arc Gaming can put out. I want to note that both teams really good with their rotations. We generally see 2Arc Gaming grab the other shrine, but in that instance, Gaming Team Gaming rotates around and picks up the other shrine. So far, they've constantly been grabbing whatever shrine 2Arc is not at, just barely keeping their opponents from picking up the Dragonite. But 2Arc's getting pretty close to 10. That might be the window that they need to be able to pick up that Dragonite.
Koto has spread a lot of creep over this top shrine area and just slowly but surely kind of pushed Quibsy back. So it may be that Gaming Team Gaming is able to hold this top.
Wow, Fate coming in, saving Phoenix, who had been envenomed by Kerrigan but was able to hit the well just in time and save himself. And then with the stun coming in from Fate, they were able to pick up the takedown on Panucci. So now they are neck and neck in experience once again. Gaming Team Gaming holding their own versus 2Arc.
Yeah, this game has been very even so far, and that's what I was mentioning, is that I think this top shrine is going to start becoming a defining factor. Quibsy is looking to grab that shrine right now, but Koto has so much movement speed and so much kind of ownership over this top right now that Quibsy has remained with less than half of his health bar on Sylvanas up there. It looks like Panucci's going to come up and try to help with some cleanup there.
Yeah, they desperately are trying to clean up some of that creep. Zagara has been going the creep build, so now with that, once again, we do have both shrines going to 2-Arc, but we have plenty of members from Gaming to Gaming here to try to stop that channel. Even maybe trying to pick up a takedown here on Panucci, as Kunriel is there to deal damage. Phoenix tried to Stormbolt her and stun her, but she was able to avoid the stun. So for now, neither team has the power play. Both teams have all 5 heroes up, and each one also has a shrine.
Looking at the heroic talents that we did pick up at level 10, nothing too surprising. Uther on Gaming Team Gaming went ahead and grabbed Divine Shield. We have Avatar, Commandeer Odin, Summon Water Elemental on Jaina, Devouring Mara for Zagara. And then for 2-Arc, we've got Phoenix from Kael'thas, Ancestral Healing from Rhaegar, Wailing Arrow, Locust Swarm on Anub'arak, and Maelstrom, of course, from Kerrigan.
Yes, the Maelstrom, always a big power spike when you pick that up. The Phoenix is going to also really come in handy when it comes to trying to zone. And a great Primal Grasp on the Jaina, but a Divine Shield keeps Wraith alive. Now the Maelstrom comes out, but may not be able to do anything as more members of Gaming Team Gaming are here, and even Walt with the Water Elemental pushing Panucci back, so not getting anything done with that Maelstrom. A fantastic heal and Divine Shield from Fate. I cannot believe he saved Wraith from the brink of death there.
Oh, that is so frustrating as a Kerrigan player to have that Maelstrom popped and have nothing to do with it other than run away. So Panucci perhaps looking for some redemption, but not finding exactly the place to do it right now. Chubsy, Furious D, and Panucci are going to hang out here in the bottom. They are actually going to depart, just kidding, but Wraith was able to grab that bottom shrine. Furious D is going to Phoenix to try to take it, but it looks like we actually have a Dragon Knight for Gaming Team Gaming. This will be the first one. Kunriel will jump inside it. Looks like we're going to have pressure on the mid lane from that Dragon Knight, but in the meantime, the rest of Gaming Team Gaming is pursuing other opportunities elsewhere on the map.
Man, Zagara unfortunately was taken down, but was able to hold that shrine just long enough so that Gaming Team Gaming could pick up the Dragon Knight, but they are losing it so fast. They've taken down 2 towers with it, so at least they've cut back up in experience, but that's it. Just the towers there in the front. I did want to note that although we have 2 very high siege damage heroes in Sylvanas and in Zagara, not a whole lot of siege damage being done so far in this game.
Yeah.
Those were really like the first 2 towers being taken down in this game, which is crazy.
It is, and I guess that's a real descriptor for this game, is that the battlefield objectives have been a #1 priority for both of these teams, which is sometimes rare. A lot of times, especially when, like you mentioned, you have a really strong siege hero on your team, you may be sending them to just pretend there are no objectives on the map and be pushing in lanes wherever the opportunity strikes.
Oh, Phoenix getting impaled, gonna dwarf toss over that wall, and 2-Arc was able to pick up those siege giants as well. There's a really great Phoenix that's going to zone and allow Chubbs to be able to get away, as well as to pick up that tower there. So now we're starting to get a little bit of siege damage done. Remember that Phoenix has a very short cooldown, only 40 seconds, so he has it in like every single fight and other situation you would want it in ever.
Panucci and Chubsy do manage to grab the siege giants on their side of the map, despite Gaming Team Gaming trying to poke their heads in there and deny it. They didn't do that. The thing is, there's creep everywhere from the top to the mid of the map. So right now, Gaming Team Gaming knows exactly where 2-Arc is if they're on that side of the map, and the creep is starting to spread toward the bottom. If that does manage to get done, then Gaming Team Gaming is going to have all the information they need about where 2-Arc is on the map to make good decisions later on in the game, which is really valuable. That said, though, 2-Arc is leading by about half a level again, and they're only going to get stronger as they approach level 16. So Gaming Team Gaming has got to make sure that they are at least equivalent, if not leading in experience, going into the next phase of the game. Right now, they're not afraid to engage, though, as they are even in talent tiers. They're going to fight pretty heavily over this bottom shrine.
Yeah, Kunriel dropped the Odin, so they really tried to get something done there, but they weren't quite able to grab a stun in on any of the members of 2-Arc. I did think it was really funny as they moved through the area toward this bottom lane. They walked like right past Panucci and Kerrigan not choosing to engage, so playing it really safe there. they were able to step back and run out the Odin, which is now down for a minute. So this would be a great time for them to try to get stuff done. They've already picked up the bottom Dragon Shrine. They're looking at possibly the top one, but everyone is here. They're trying to pick up Quibsy, who so far has been doing a great job with the Banshees of being able to fool the members of Gaming Team Gaming and get out alive in a lot of situations that looked like for sure we were going to see Sylvanas takedown.
Level 16 just gets picked up from 2ARC, so Gaming Team Gaming has to be aware of the fact that their damage is now amplified. They are now just a little bit scary, and so Gaming Team Gaming will likely look to soak up as much experience as they can, as quickly as they can, before getting into another engagement with 2ARC.
Yeah, unfortunately there was a little bit of a skirmish there on bottom as Tychus was taken down by 2ARC, so they got a little bit of time to, like you said, a window with level 16s where they're going to make something happen. So they're pushing on top. A little bit of indecision from Gaming Team Gaming, but they have found some members of 2ARC. They're going to take down Kerrigan. A really great Devouring Maw holds everyone else. Quibsy and Trader are here. Looks like they might be going to go after Trader, but he does have Burrow Charge pretty soon. Should be able to use that to escape with his life. And now, with that takedown, they did get to level 16, so they've got those talents. They've evened it up once again, but Furious D is coming in, and he is going to be dealing so much damage with that Ignite talent.
It's a good thing that 2ARC has a tank in this game. Trader getting wailed on by 3 members of Gaming Team Gaming, but has been able to escape multiple times in tough situations. We now have 3 members of 2ARC going to create some room around the Dragon Shrine, but luckily for Gaming Team Gaming, Wraith was able to steal that bottom shrine, making it impossible for the Dragon Knight to be picked up right now.
So there are the level 16 talents. Looking at them, we have 3 Blood for Bloods as well as Cold Embrace, so a ton of damage from 2ARC, but it's not 2ARC who's dealing the damage. They're taking it for now, as Trader and Quibsy, I believe, got very, very low. They had to use the Ancestral Healing. We still have a Wailing Arrow up, but most of the heroics except Odin, which is still running, are down for Gaming Team Gaming. So there goes that Odin. They also have Divine Shield, so a little low on heroic abilities. We'll probably see them both disengage. Muradin actually going up, sneaking that shrine, so that's going to give a little bit of breathing room to Gaming Team Gaming.
I think that Gaming Team Gaming was well served to immediately try to engage when they hit level 16, popping that Odin and everything. They almost took down some of the members of 2ARC there, didn't manage to do it, but it looks like right now they will manage to take down Sylvanas, and they want to do as much as they can while they're on the same talent tier as 2ARC, and I think that it showed really good finesse from both teams to see Gaming Team Gaming engage right at that instant, and also to see 2ARC back off and be like, whoa, 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 dudes, come on, why are you so aggro? Like, chill out, yeah, go ahead, use all your heroic abilities, we don't need to fight you right now.
Super smart from 2ARC as well to see, okay, we're going to lose Sylvanas. That's going to happen. What can we do to take advantage of the fact that they're up top? And then they instantly pushed in toward the mid. So they're at least taking advantage of the positioning, even though if they might lose somebody, they're taking advantage of the positioning of their opponents. Now we're seeing a little bit of murking. Both teams having trouble picking up the Dragon Knight, as we've seen throughout all of this game. The shrines have just gone back and forth. So now Sylvanas is back up. The power play has passed, and it looks like 2ARC might be trying to catch Fate out here as the team is very separated, looking to try to pick up the Dragon Knight.
We do have Bruisers pushing for 2ARC up here in the top, and they are going to be something that needs to be dealt with. Kunriul is up there going to grab that shrine, and we'll probably deal with that next. There's a lot of action around the middle of the map, which a lot of times we see the action being split between the top and the bottom, but these teams are so comfortable rotating that they kind of just put themselves where they need to be at the time. I'm wondering what either of these teams is really waiting for in this game. What do they think they're going to do in terms of being in the right position to really be aggressive? I know that we were looking at level 16, especially for 2ARC with Kael'thas, but now they're well past that. They're looking at level 30, and both teams have so far been taking just little nibbles on each other.
Both teams are looking for perfect positioning while they have all their heroic abilities up and they are all there. That's the type of team that composition that they both have. And so Kunrio once again dropping Odin. They're not going to be able to fight into this, and this is kind of the problem with Odin, right? As soon as you see it pop, you just walk away. Tuark wants to walk away from team fights at this point anyway. They're nearly to 20. It's a perfect time for them to not engage, but it's a perfect time for Gaming Team Gaming to try to get something done if they're going to. Because while all of this is going on, Tuark has been just a little bit better at their rotations, taking out some structures while they can. Now, Gaming Team Gaming is realizing this, realizing that they need to catch back up in experience, so they're going to very quickly push here on bottom.
Worth noting that at level 16, Gaming Team Gaming went ahead and took 3 Blood for Bloods, so they are looking to stabby stab, and do lots of damage.
Yes, that and Cold Embrace, and then of course Ignite. So all damage at level 16, full damage from all members, including the support. So that's just what the type of comp that they're going for. Now they've hit level 20. Their opponents are not far behind, but they have to get it. They absolutely have to get 20 as fast as they can. There goes the Farsight. The Tuark is aware of where Gaming Team Gaming is. They're going to have to rotate around and try to get level 20 elsewhere. We've got 3 Bolts of the Storm for Tuark Gaming, also a Storm Shield and Hardened Shield. So now they're looking more at sustainability, survivability, and making sure they have the right positioning. If you've noticed, both of these teams have been all about positioning this game.
They certainly have, and that's really good, because if either one of them had not been, it would have meant that the other team would have capitalized a long time ago. These teams both have to be both aggressive and conservative, depending on the time, and I've seen both of them make really good decisions. Right now, Tuark making a great decision about the fact that the bottom lane was left unattended for a moment. They are going to take down the wall in both towers, and then they're going to... Oh, I thought they were going to back off, but instead it looks like they're going to engage on Phoenix.
Oh, great stuns. Everybody going after Quibsy, but Quibsy will get the Ancestral Healing. Devouring Maw is over, and now Phoenix is very far forward, taking a ton of damage. Will they be able to save him? So far, he is safe. He will be taken down, but so has AnnaProsser. He is a pretty squishy tank, so while everyone was trying to focus on Phoenix, everyone else was able to focus on AnnaProsser as well. So it's tank for tank here so far, but running after Kilthus is always very scary because he can throw an Ignite, which will apply Living Bomb to you, and as you saw, Koto nearly being taken down there. They have to be so careful of those Ignites, which he's even using to make Verdant Spheres to make even bigger. So right now we're still seeing Tuark here. Even though they lost their tank, they're being very aggressive on this. Keep Fate trying to jump in, get a stun on somebody. A Phoenix will zone them away while they try to, well, it looks like they might keep pushing. They really want this keep.
They've been using Phoenix, the ability, not the player, very well so far, to zone and to make sure that they can push their opponents away from them when they don't want to be engaged upon. Looks like they are going to back off now, but they want to take this siege camp on their way out, which they can do because they can burn them down so fast that they won't give Gaming Team Gaming the opportunity to come in and engage on them through that grass.
Really good job by Gaming Team Gaming, though, in keeping their keep alive. But the story of this has been the rotation, and I feel like it's Tuark who has always been the aggressors, and it's kept Gaming Team Gaming on the back foot constantly. Like, yes, Gaming Team Gaming has been able to go in and say, okay, we'll take this fort, but because their forts were already down, because Tuark had started this whole practice of the rotating into picking up structure sooner, then they lose, you know, a keep over it, or very closely a keep for it. So it's just been slightly so far Tuark who has been rotating a little bit faster, getting a little bit further of a push in, and part of that, I mean, a huge part of that is, of course, that Tuark has that Sylvanas.
I wonder, I mean, I've been praising Koto's use of creep all over this map. I think that's a big boon to Gaming Team Gaming, but I wonder if Zagara maybe needs to be doing a little bit more damage to make sure that Gaming Team Gaming's composition can stand up to Tuark as it gets more and more damage heavy.
Well, looks like Fanucci getting so low will once again be healed up, so they're dealing a ton of damage. The problem is, of course, that they're just constantly not catching somebody right before the Ancestral Heal, because they've got those Bolts of the Storms and that type of thing. So maybe if they did have a little bit more, they would be able to deal with that. But now Jaina is down for nearly a minute, and now they're even chasing Fate too. A great cleanse, though, keeps him from getting hit, but now a Bolt of the Storm by Furious D followed up by the Gravity Lapse will ensure that they're able to pick up that Uther takedown. And now we do have them pushing toward Keep. They might even move toward core. They know that, no, they're not, because Fate does have redemption, so he's going to be back up. But they are going to move toward this other keep as Tychus and Muradin are trying to save the fort up top. They even picked up the shrine, so they know that they're not going, Tuark's going to take a long time to pick up the Dragon Knight, but that's not what Tuark wants. They want keeps, they want catapults, and that's exactly what they're going to get.
They sure will. That Jaina actually went down to a Phoenix that was cast right over the shrine at the bottom of the map, which was really cool because what that did was not only grab a takedown for Tuark, but it kind of discouraged anyone from stealing that shrine from them. Now the top shrine is blue. Muradin did manage to go grab that for Gaming Team Gaming, but it looks like Tuark is setting their sights now on a Dragon Knight. They're going to try to grab that top shrine. And I thought that maybe we would see Furious D and Chubsy head toward the middle to try to be there in case the Dragon Knight was available, but instead they're going to follow to the top lane. Looks like Tuark really wants to make sure that all of their team members are together, don't get separated or caught out. Phoenix is going to be squeezed in a vice between Panucci and Trader. Chubsy is going to join in. Now everyone is here. We will have an engagement in the middle. Odin does go down as well. The Devouring Maw will take Kael'thas out of the mix for a moment. Trader is going to have to dive behind. Looks like the Phoenix will go down on Phoenix, who will have to get out of the way if he doesn't want to have too much damage done, but luckily he's such a strong tank, he can take that for his team. A lot of damage being done, but not any takedowns yet, except for Uther. Did go down, but has come back and will go down again.
Yes, he's down. The overlay really has a problem with knowing once Uther has redemption, but he is down now and will not have redemption this time, so he's down for a full minute, and the Dragon Knight has been picked up by Tuark. They're going to walk straight through. They know that they can go straight to core here. They don't need to try to take down any more structures in the core. They've got a 23-minute Dragon Knight. It's going to deal so much damage. 4 members of Gaming Team Gaming up, but it's not going to be enough to try to deal with all of that, especially with no heals to try to keep them alive. First game, going to go to Tuark.
Well played by both teams. I think we saw Tuark recognize that they didn't want to give Gaming Team Gaming any more chances to take advantages. They wanted to make sure when they knew they had enough damage to just go straight for that core, instead of maybe playing the more conservative insurance portfolio building style, as we sometimes call it, of just taking a building, backing off, taking a building, backing off, because they really didn't want to give any more opportunities, as they had been so close in experience for most of the game.
Yeah, you mentioned they were close in experience for most of the game, and I want to point out they were close in a lot of things for a lot of the game. They were close in experience. They their team comps were very similar. They even, like, if looking at the numbers, they're all pretty similar as well, although one thing to note is that Rhaegar does have a lot more healing than the Uther, so that is one thing to consider, but their composition's very, very similar, and it's just, I feel like it just comes down to, in that case, the little things. Like we mentioned the fact that Tuark did have Sylvanas, and they could take down structures a little bit faster, and they did rotate around. Even once they lost that Sylvanas, they rotated very quickly and started putting damage on forts, but not ever sacrificing a team fully to do that. We saw a lot of movement from both teams, positioning, trying to go after structures wherever their opponents were not, and it was just really cool to see two very similar team comps go against each other, with one just being slightly more refined.
I would say that if I could, that Tuark was a little bit lighter on their feet with the rotations, because both teams were doing great rotations and being where the advantages were, but I feel like Tuark was a little bit more ready to come and go in just the right timing, maybe, than Gaming Team Gaming with their similar composition. So we'll have to see if next game we see them again choosing compositions that are very similar, or whether either team will change their strategy.
Yeah. What I am hoping for, though, is with this matchup, I would love to do a Game 3. These teams put on a very good show for the first game, and I really enjoyed it. So thanks to both teams, Gaming Team Gaming and Tuark. When we come back, we will have Game 2 between these two teams, so stay tuned, guys. We'll see you very soon.